Welcome to the Divine Gossip Podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie Foster, a professional psychic medium, tarot reader, and spiritual mentor, here to provide you with the next steps towards your dream reality, along with clarity and deep validation while on your spiritual journey. I have an immense passion for all things paranormal, spiritual, and of course, having some super fun chats with incredibly knowledgeable people. In each episode, we will expand our minds, ignite our inner psychics, embrace our spiritual awakening journeys, and live a super grounded, witchy life. I hope you learned something new in today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Divine Gossip Podcast. I have an incredible guest with me, Anna, who is a quantum human design expert, is what you would call yourself. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Anna Kinney. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I've been enjoying listening and hearing you touch on human design here and there, but I'm excited to kind of spill a little bit more tea with y'all today. Yes, I am a certified quantum human design specialist, quantum alignment system practitioner, story lab facilitator, Reiki master, soul-centered tarot reader. I'm manifesting generator in the house with
Oh, hell
the
yeah.
going. I'm also a expressive arts facilitator and drum circle facilitator. So
Oh
I
my
have
God, that's so cool.
yeah, I'm a musician. I play folk music with my husband, and I am the host of the podcast Music by Design, where I have pulled in my like 15, 20 plus years of, well, let's see, I've been playing music since I was in third grade. So most of my life, music has been a huge part. And I love human design so much. And my curiosity got the best of me. And I created this podcast where uh, I was really curious of what are the energetics behind why we like certain music.
Love that.
So, and it's so meta and it gets so nitty gritty. But if you're like a dork for this kind of stuff, I had all these really amazing conversations last year in season one where I interviewed people who were lovers of music, some musicians, but mostly people who just like loved a certain artist a lot. And I pulled up that artist chart and I pulled up their chart and we just talked about how they discovered that artist, why they really love them, what is it about it? Is it the lyrics? Is it the rhythm? Is it the musicality? Like what is it about the music? And then we're seeing these patterns start to emerge. And so basically I was collecting data that whole first year around why we love the music we do. And in the very last episode of that season, I basically kind of broke down the data and I said, here's what I found. And there are some really cool pieces that came through that ultimately really reinforced me the idea that your type is not all there is. And so we got to kind of, it's where we start typically when you first learn about human design. What's your type? Oh, I'm a generator. I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a projector, all that sort of stuff. But when it really comes down to your intuition, because like liking music is a form of intuition, the things that you love is your intuition. And a lot of the time, the things that you are naturally gravitating towards, they're showing you a piece of yourself in some way. And it's
Absolutely.
and it's the things that we're here to be and express as we see through an astrology chart or human design chart. Those are usually the places where we get conditioned to dim, to suppress, to not be so big in those areas. And so a lot of the time I would talk to people about, I would ask, what did you really love when you were like 15, 16 years old? And 90% of the time, people are embarrassed to admit what they really loved. Even if, they don't like that music now, people are embarrassed to say, yeah, when I was 15, I really, really loved the Backstreet Boys or whatever. And it's like, why are we embarrassed to share like what it is that we really truly love. Why do we even have that phrase guilty pleasure? Why do you feel
Right.
guilty
Yeah.
about the things that bring you pleasure? And
Yeah.
so it took me on this whole really cool exploration that at the end of the day reinforced some of the things that we teach and share about in human design is things about your incarnation cross, the importance of your sun and earth gates, the importance of the nodal placements, the importance of the profile, which are big pieces in our energetic design that we see in our charts that if you're just discovering human design, you don't really hear about that stuff until you are,
Hmm.
if you decide to take the journey, beyond just hearing about your type in a reading one time, you don't ever get to these deeper, nuanced parts that are really, really important in helping us understand ourselves and giving us the permission to be not embarrassed to love the things that we love. So thanks
Yeah.
for, I just went on a little tangent there. That's a
I love
classic
it.
manifesting generator. I have the
Oh yeah.
2034 channel, the 2010 channel that just,
I
so.
love it. And you're such a podcaster too. I'm the same way. If I go on a podcast, I'm like, it's actually my podcast now. Thank you. I love it so much. I
Yeah,
love it.
don't be intimidated. I'm not trying to take over. It's just
No,
if
I
you
love
just
please do. Please.
let the motor run, it will eventually come to
Oh
a
yeah.
period at the end of the sentence.
I love it so much because I'm literally the same way. I'm a manifesting generator too. And I didn't even think about that with music. I've done a lot of energetic research with the artists I listen to, but I've only incorporated astrology with it. So I'll look at artists who have like the same moon sign as me or like the same Venus sign, and I resonate with them a lot. But I didn't even think about it with human design. That's so interesting. So for people who don't know what human design is, so we just set up our terms and definitions here. Can you explain human design in a simple but still powerful way?
Okay. The in a nutshell, human design is a meaning making system that was created, channeled, and created by this fellow named Ra Uru Hu in 1987. He heard the voice and channeled a whole bunch of information that would have taken somebody years and years and years to figure out these calculations. But he just channeled it in 8 days. And it's a synthesis essentially of 5 different modalities, wisdom systems, other meaning making systems, all blended together. So we have astrology. There's an astrological aspect, which is why we need your birth date, time, and location to pull up your chart because it is based in astrology. There is also the Chinese I Ching, which is one that a lot of people are not super familiar with. It's a divination system that was invented in China thousands of years ago. It's been used by all kinds of people through history to kind of determine outcomes of all sorts of things. Whole wars have been planned using the I Ching system, the I Ching system. And in it, there are hexagrams. There's 64 hexagrams. And so in the human design chart, you see all these numbers in the chart. A lot of those numbers, most of those numbers correlate to each of the 64 hexagrams from the I Ching.
Okay.
We also have the Hindu Brahmin chakra system. So when you look at the body graph, you see these shapes all laid out. And if you've studied chakras or done yoga, you see this and you're like, oh, this kind of looks like chakras, but it's also a little different. There are 9 energy centers instead of 7 chakras, and there's reasons for that. And then the way that the centers are all connected with these channels is based off of the Kabbalah tree of life with the pathways and the choice points, places, and all of that. So it kind of has these 4 ancient modalities. And then the fifth is it's like if you put these 4 modalities in a big bowl, like you're making a cake, the spoon that stirs them is quantum physics. And you just
Wow.
kind of like stir it all together. And you get this really cool chart. Now, a lot of people, when they first look at the human design chart, go, whoa, there's a lot going on here. You have no idea what I'm looking at. For me, I had already been studying most of those modalities separately.
Mhm.
And so when I looked at this chart, I went, ooh,
Yeah.
this is cool. This, like, I already had foundational knowledge in all of these systems. And I was like, this is great because I was starting to learn after studying lots of different philosophies over the years. They all essentially start to say the same thing. And be a good person. you know
Right. Right.
but when we have conditioning on us, it's hard to know, like, well, what is being a good person that's also authentic, what is really me. And so, yeah, so the human design chart is this awesome tool where we get to see what aspects of your unique energy are here for you to broadcast outward, to show the world your flavor of this archetype. And where do you have parts of your energy that are more taking in and observing and sampling the expression of others? And so it's in the places where we take in that we typically get conditioned by other people, and we start to like identify with those things and try to be that. And we learn later, oh wait, that's, I don't have access to that anymore. And you're trying to continue to be something that you're not. And then the places where we are designed to express, those are the places where we get conditioned to kind of like dim our light, to be not so big, to be not so bold and not so strong. And so by seeing this contrast in the chart, we can start to peel off the layers and systematically go through center by center, gate by gate, channel by channel, and basically like reboost the parts of yourself that are your innate natural strengths and help you learn how to clear out the parts that are not necessarily yours all the time, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. And so that's where in the languaging, we often will say there's parts of your design that are defined and parts of your design that are undefined. The parts of you that are defined, they're the parts in the chart that are colored in. And defined are that's the things that you have consistent access to. You have access to this energy. Those are what we would call your natural strengths, your natural gifts. The places where you're undefined are the parts of the chart that are not colored in, that are still white. And so those are the places where you have variable access to that energy. It's inconsistent. You'll still experience it. We still all experience all of the chart.
Hmm.
It's just some of it's not super reliable for us all the time. We'll get a little burst of that energy for a little while when we come in contact with someone else that has it, or we get it from the transits, but then it kind of fades and it goes away. So it's kind of like having that awareness. You can work with that energy when it's there
Hmm.
and then allow yourself to let it go when it's gone, and
Okay.
not try to force yourself to keep using it when it's gone.
Yeah. Huh.
So I just want to put out there for anybody that's listening that's like, wait, 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 wait. what is my chart? You can actually go to my website, which is annawithintention.love. And right there on the homepage, there is a little thingy you can fill out that you put your name and your all your birth info, and you click submit, and you get a downloadable PDF that you can download, or you can just see it right there on your screen of your chart. And included are like little blurbs, little descriptions of what all the different parts of your chart mean. So you can go look up your chart quick, pause this, go look up your chart, and then come back and look at it and see what are the parts that are colored in and what are the parts that are not colored in. And that's just kind of the one of the basic places to start, is what's defined, what's undefined. And generally people start with type. What's your type? And there's five types. But I like to, we start there, but I like to make sure that when I'm giving someone an initial reading, that I also give them more than just the type bit, because there's so much more. And sometimes people don't resonate with their type. Like I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo sun, Leo rising, Leo Mars, Aquarius moon.
Oh, I
So
love you.
I have a lot of Leo, but when I was younger, I was conditioned to not be so Leo,
Yeah.
to not be so center stage. I was intimidating to a lot of people, including my parents and my family. I was also very emotional. And that a lot of that was, I had to suppress or hide or dim it because it wasn't welcome. And so I didn't actually resonate with being a Leo. I was born in the second to last degree of Leo. So I feel like I'm a very old soul Leo. I'm like, uh, and when I was younger, I didn't really resonate with like being the center of attention or being this big. I resonated more with more Virgo aspects, honestly. I felt closer to Virgo. But then when I got out of the conditioning field of my family and I went to college and I was like able to be more myself and be more fully expressed, all the Leo stuff started coming out more. And I was like, okay, this I get now.
Yeah, I'm a Leo, Mars and Mercury, and a Cancer sun. So I'm very emotional. No one talks about the emotional aspect of Leo. We are very emotional. We have
Oh,
very,
yeah. Oh,
very
yeah.
expressive. But I love people like you who look at a tool as complicated, which I feel like it's not actually. I mean, it's complicated, yes, but when you get a hang of it, it's very easy. It's intuitive to hit a key. It's very intuitive to understand human design, that is. And I love people like you who look at a complicated-ish tool and instead of getting intimidated about it, you actually study it and like fall in love with it. The way you talk about it is so beautiful and so refreshing. And I just love analytical and also spiritual people like you because I'm the same way. I love like getting into the nitty gritty of things and looking at all the different degrees and aspects and little facts and details of everything. And I love that you do that. And I've never heard undefined centers described like that. Like that it's you can access them sometimes like they're kind of in and out. It's not that they're never there. It's just that they're in and out.
Yeah, that's a one of the common, I think, misconceptions or mistakes that people can make at the beginning is they think that, oh, if I don't have it defined, I don't have that energy. And it's just not true. It's
Right.
just you just don't have it all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So like my you and I have a lot of similarities in our designs. So you have an undefined head in Ajna. I also have an undefined head in Ajna. My husband is a defined head in Ajna. So I'm around that energy all the time.
Mm,
And I can access it when I need that mental energy for like asking questions, coming up with solutions, and all that sort of stuff. And we can work really well together in that way. But then also sometimes his head energy can just like take over all my thoughts too. And sometimes I just have to like if I'm trying to focus on something on my own and he walks into the room, all of a sudden my mind will just be like like it just feels like it gets hijacked a little bit and I just have to be
yeah.
like can you just like go away can you like or I'll go somewhere else so sometimes we want it and we can use it to our advantage and other times we don't want it and it's just bringing awareness to that and learning how to work with that energy is is part of like the beauty of learning this system and just understanding that like it's
Yeah.
not there is no good or bad or right or wrong. It's just understanding, oh, when someone with a defined head and ajna comes into my aura, I might not be able to keep focusing on what I was just focusing on and to
Yeah.
not get mad or frustrated at them or yourself, but just to know, like, okay, well, how do I support myself when I'm in this energy?
Yeah. I
So,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but every time I not every time, but most of the time when I look at my human design chart or I try to use it as like a real serious tool for growth and expansion and everything good, I find that I'm going to my chart to like attach to an outcome or like attach to like for example, I'll look at my chart and be like, okay, how can I use this to make more money, or how can I use this to like find love, or I don't know, I feel like I've been using human design in a way that's attached to things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, they matter, but it's not like my soul desires. It's like my human materialistic attachments that I'm looking for. So if you can, well, of course you can, but I would love if you went deeper into how to use human design from a more soul aligned level and not so like icky, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So what you're describing makes me think about like manifestation teachings. So in most manifestation teachings, they teach you you have to be in alignment with the thing that it is you desire. What I think a lot of people are realizing though is it's less about, oh, I want this, I want the perfect relationship, so I have to I'll get into alignment with finding the perfect relationship. It's actually, how is it that that relationship is going to make you feel?
Right.
What is it? What is, because it's not really the like, you know, you always hear about like Jim Carrey is this now spiritual guy because he got all the fame and all the money and all the stuff that he ever wanted and he still felt empty, right? Because it's the misconception. We think that by getting the thing that then we're going to feel happy or feel satisfied or feel content or feel abundant. But really, it's about how do you get into the vibration of the feeling that it is you're wanting to feel, that you think the stuff is going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
So when, what is it that you think that that relationship is going to bring you? Validation, love, you know, what are the feelings? And so if you approach the chart rather from this place of, okay, what are the places I need to decondition and reprogram my story that I have, that I tell about who I am and what it is I think I need to feel love, but rather, how can I just feel love without the thing first?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks talks a lot about this too. She talks about getting into emotional alignment, and then the thing will come, and often the thing that we wanted isn't actually what we wanted, right? We want to feel the feeling, and when you're feeling the feeling and in that vibration, then the thing that is actually in your highest and best will come in, and it might not be what your brain thought it was you needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think my human design chart has actually taught me because I'm an emotional authority, as you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I I like that's exactly how I feel human design has taught me is following my emotional wave and letting my emotions lead and not like materialistic external outcomes because it all starts in here. I think that's what it's really taught me. But what I've come to challenge myself with human design is I'm an emotional authority, but isn't there other authorities? Like, how do is it all of them at once in all of us? And I have an emotional one, so that one's just stronger in me. Or, you know what I mean? Like, do other people need to follow their emotions too? Obviously, yes, but
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, there's a couple different facets to this question. I love how you ask questions because I ask my guests on my podcast, like I'll ask them four questions in one question.
yeah,
I'm like,
that's my
just
specialty.
pick one and start somewhere. Um, so with the authority piece, yes, you have emotional authority, but here's a cool nuance that we don't always get when we're just learning that beginning surface level stuff about strategy and type strategy and authority. Your authority is the emotional channel, the 4037. This connects the solar plexus to the will center. It's what we call tribal circuitry. The will center is very much based in material.
Yeah.
So you go into your chart wanting to know about material things like money and how do I manifest, you have all of the gates in the will center defined. You are designed to be concerned with the material world. You are designed to be here to distribute resources, to have control over resources, to know how to sell things, to know how to build community and create bargains and agreement. Like all of that energy is in the will center. You have two of the four channels fully defined, you have all the gates defined. So you have this really strong pull towards wanting to understand that piece. And this is a thing that the will center, it's we call it the will center because it's about willpower. And
Yeah.
it does contain some of its own energy. You do have like three of the four centers that create their own energy. You have three of them defined. So you have a lot of energy, but the will center compared to like the sacral is known as like this powerhouse, this engine that's always running, always creating energy.
Yeah.
The will center and the solar plexus, they create energy, but they operate a little bit differently. The will center or the emotional solar plexus has an emotional wave, right? Like you
Yeah.
already mentioned. When you're up on the wave, you have a lot of energy. When you're
Yeah.
down on the wave, you don't have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
The will center is more like a bank. If you have energetic money in the bank, you have energetic money to spend. But if you don't put more money back in that bank, you're going to wind up overdrawing. And that's what we call burnout.
Yep.
And so the will center operates very much more in these cycles of work and rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to you have to rest more
Yeah.
than you have to rest that willpower more than you're expending. And it's yeah, it's very cyclical. And so you have these two different very strong cycles happening between the will center and the solar plexus center, where generally the solar plexus is kind of the strongest of all the centers. It's going to overpower. That's why it's your authority, because you have all this other stuff defined. Um, if you didn't have the solar plexus defined, your authority would be sacral authority, because the sacral is the next one in that hierarchy of like which one overpowers which.
Okay.
If you didn't have the sacral defined, then the next one down would be, I think, the spleen center. And then if you didn't have the spleen center defined, then the will center would be your authority.
Okay.
That's called ego authority. So there is kind of a hierarchy, but if you have the solar plexus defined, which is 50% of the population, no matter what else you have defined in your chart, you're going to be an emotional authority, because that one is kind of
Okay.
at the top of that like hierarchy sort of.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so so you are an emotional authority, but you do also have these three other centers defined that also have an authority, like could be an authority, like if you didn't have the solar plexus defined. So you have a defined solar plexus connected to the will, connected to the spleen, connected to the sacral. So the engine that's powering your whole design with all this constant energy, that's sacral, that energy is being like kind of picking up all the other stuff that's coming through the design first. So
Okay.
it's the emotional energy going through the willpower, going through the spleen, which is instinctual awareness.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's picking up all this energy before it goes into the sacral, and then it goes up to the throat, and
Mm,
then it wants to be expressed.
that is so interesting. It makes
Yeah.
so much sense.
So it's this cool, like energetic flow you can see, and every chart is very unique and very different.
That is so cool. That's another thing I love about human design is like there's no other tool that can explain my psyche to the depths that you just explained. Like that is so cool.
And we didn't even go that deep.
I know. Oh, I bet. I bet. So, that's so funny that willpower, you keep saying willpower with me
Yeah.
because
And the will center, because it's this place where money and resources get funneled through, and for the last 400 years, our whole culture and society, even globally, has been all about numbers,
yes.
money, material things, right? That's what everything in the world we know right now is very much rooted in material awareness, material accrual. And we're in a big shift right now. We're moving out of this material consciousness and we're moving into emotional consciousness.
Mm.
And there's a big mutation that's happening in the human species, both on a genetic level and on an energetic level, where we're shifting out of using the mind and the material world for everything and moving into using our emotional awareness and emotional intelligence. It's a big shift. It's not going to be overnight, but we're in the middle of it right now. And so the will center is undergoing a big mutation right now. And so that's something that um, is one of the number one centers that if you're looking like, oh, what should I start with, whether you have this defined or undefined, because if you have it undefined, you're taking in all of this will center energy from everyone around you and amplifying it. And this is the place, this center houses a lot with self-worth
Yeah.
and vitality. And that's why self-worth has become such like a big thing in the self-development world just in the last couple of years. All of a sudden you're hearing self-worth, self-worth, self-worth. This center houses self-worth. So if you don't have a good sense of self-worth and you have this center defined, you're going to push and push and push, and you're going to deplete and overdraw that bank.
Yeah.
And or you can also maybe fall into the place of using your willpower to push other people to withdraw from their bank
That is so
without
crazy.
without even intentionally doing it. It's just being around it. Like I have a totally open, like I am my will center is completely opposite from yours. I have no gates defined in mine. I feel a defined will center so strongly that I usually have to kind of like take a little bit of distance when I first come into one to kind of like check in with myself and be like, whoa, do I feel like I'm being overpowered here right now?
Huh. That is so cool. Yeah, I definitely don't like the self-worth thing has been huge for me these past few years and I'm still working on it. Like I literally woke up listening to a self-worth podcast today. Like what you're saying is so specific to me and so many other people listening, I'm sure. But um yeah, I find that I tie my worth to how much money I have or the material stuff I have around me, or I feel like if I start to feel insecure about myself, I like make other people feel like drained because of that, if that makes sense. So yeah, yeah. I've even gotten human design readings and none of them have told me this. So thank you.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the biggest things that really stands out to me in your design as something that is really, really, really unique to me
Oh,
is that fully defined will center, because that's something that I don't see that often. You know,
huh.
this is another thing that I think a lot of people fall prey to when they first get their reading. Let's say you get a reading and someone tells you that you're a generator. Generators make up 35% of the population. And you're like, oh, so I'm not special.
Oh, yeah.
You know, generators and manifesting generators together make up 70% of the global population. There's a lot of us.
Yeah.
And and then you hear about, oh, reflectors are only 1% of the population, and projectors are only 20, and manifestors are only 9, and we get like FOMO around our type when we're told we're a generator type. But again, that's where you got to go past that type piece,
Mm-hmm.
because I have seen so many different configurations of generators and manifesting generators out there. You can be a manifesting generator and have all 9 centers defined and be a quadruple split. That is like literally so rare. So rare. You could be a generator with, only 2 centers defined. You could feel like maybe you're a reflector or a projector because you have a lot of openness in your design, which makes you very, very sensitive.
Mm.
Like, there are so many different ways. And even your configuration, you have one, two, three, four, five, six out of the 9 centers defined, and you're single definition, which that means all your centers are connected fluidly. When you start to get more and more centers defined, you get there's a higher likelihood you're going to have a split in your design. So it's, to me, it's fairly uncommon to see this much definition in a chart and there not be a split, and to see the will center fully defined like that. Like, that's, yeah,
Ah, you're so
super.
cool. You're so cool. You find magic in everything. Like, thank you for saying that. Because yeah, when I heard that we make up most of the population, I was like, damn, I thought I was like really special and cool. But every single person is in their own way.
You are, absolutely. And what is cool about being part of this, yeah, we're part of the big chunk of the population. We're we're what makes up a lot of the conditioning field on the planet.
Mm,
And so it is so important for every generator and manifesting generator, everyone that has a defined sacral, to do your work, to get
yes.
in alignment with what freaking lights you up.
Yes.
Because if we got 70% of the world's population actually following their sacral hell yes every moment of every day, we would live in a very different world.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
100%.
I was just about to say that 100%.
So I feel it's a big part of my mission to I talk a lot about the toxic patriarchy. I talk a lot about, toxic capitalism. And I specify toxic because I think just saying the patriarchy, it's only because we've only ever known toxic patriarchy. But there can be, I believe, a healthy patriarchy.
Hmm,
We just haven't seen it. So I specify toxic patriarchy. And same thing with capitalism. Capitalism inherently is not bad if it wasn't controlled by people who were
right.
operating out of their not self and their conditioned self and out of greed and all these low shadow vibration um, pieces of our energy, of our human existence. If everybody was operating from that higher expression, we wouldn't be so upset with capitalism. We wouldn't be so upset with patriarchy, you know? So
100%. Yeah.
so I feel like it's a big piece of my mission here to help people, women. I work with mostly women, uh, decondition the toxic patriarchy from the inside out, because we have internalized a lot of these pieces around not trusting ourselves, not valuing ourselves, not listening to our intuition, and all these things. We just second guess and doubt ourselves so much. And
Yeah.
human design is just this really beautiful tool that we can use to systematically go through and decondition all these pieces one
Hmm.
by one by one. And so that's what I do in quantum alignment sessions. Is we start with your type, we decondition from your type. We go through your profile lines, and then we start going through the centers, and we just get deeper and deeper and deeper into the chart. And it's really beautiful. I've seen some really amazing shifts and changes in not only myself, but my clients. And it's a powerful, powerful tool. So that tool is a combination of things. It's human design, it's coaching, it is emotional freedom technique and subtle body therapies using sound frequencies and essential oils and crystals and things like that to
Mm.
um, create really profound energetic shift. And for me as a manifesting generator, the reason I've been studying all these different modalities over the years was because I was looking for the thing that's going to help me the fastest.
Me, that's so me. Yeah.
And quantum alignment system, for me, that is the fastest. That is the thing that I have found that employs all these things. Like, I love and trust human design systems so much that I don't want to work with a modality that doesn't take it into account.
Yeah, that's so cool. I have a loaded question.
Yeah.
You know, um, if you could give a short blurb, one piece of advice for each type, what would it be?
Okay, piece of advice for each type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could give a blanket statement for everyone.
Love that.
um, don't identify with your type.
I love that.
It's not an identity. And this is another place where I see a lot of people making mistakes, is similar to like when you get a, say, like a diagnosis of some sort.
Mm,
Like, you get, say you get diagnosed with something like clinical depression, you start saying, I am depressed.
yes.
The words I am are some of the most powerful words in the English language.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you could just say, I have a diagnosis of clinical depression that I'm working with. But what happens is when we start saying, I am this, like, I am a manifesting generator, now we use that as an excuse for bad behavior or an excuse for why we do the things that we do that aren't necessarily in our highest and best. And this could maybe I gotta make a t-shirt that just says trigger warning on it, because I'm about to say something that might trigger some people, but I have a big qualm with everyone going out and getting ADHD diagnoses these days.
Oh, same. It's yeah, same.
I think if it's actually helping you,
Right.
if it helps you to actually learn coping strategies and ways of adapting and integrating new things into your life to make your life easier for you, then great. I think it's fantastic. If you're on medication that's really helping, great.
Yeah.
But if you get a diagnosis and now it's just, oh, well, I just have ADHD and that's why my life is a complete mess.
Yeah, like at some point it's not productive. It's not
Yeah,
productive.
it's not productive. And so I see people doing something similar with human design. It's like, oh, well, I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm not supposed to ever finish anything.
Whoa, yeah, that's not cool. Yeah,
That's not true.
right.
You know, that's taking like a little piece, like, again, of something you heard in a reading, in a 5-minute reading you got with somebody, or read in a PDF that glossed over everything and you didn't get any deeper information. Like, yeah, we can hop around and be interested in a lot of different things, and sometimes we're only meant to take in a certain amount of, like, a book. Like, you were only supposed to read the first 3 chapters of the book because that's what you needed to get you to this next phase of understanding. But does that mean I never finish a book? Hell no. Like, yeah, I finish books all the time. But we're designed as manifesting generators, we're designed to kind of collect a lot of different experiences. And in the higher expression, we're designed to bring them all together and create something truly unique that only we could have created.
Yeah.
That is a full expression of us and all the different things we've experienced and learned about in our lives. And in so doing, help ourselves and others speed up the linear time process. In quantum human design, each type has a different name. My teacher, Karen Curry Parker, she invented quantum human design, where she took all the old languaging from the original system went into a cymatics lab, which a cymatics lab is where they have the machines that can measure the frequency of words. And
Cool.
she went through a thesaurus and picked the words that had the best, highest frequency that were similar to to describing these types. So, for example, in traditional human design, we have the manifesting generator.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's not a bad. It's not. It's a mouthful. Manifesting generator. It's a long one. We say mani gen, but in quantum human design, the name of the new name for the type is the time bender,
Whoa, that's so cool.
which makes me think of Avatar,
Yeah.
like a new type of bender, right? So that's what we do when we are operating in alignment with our truest authentic expression. We've done all the things, we followed our strategy, we followed our authority. We can speed up the time it takes to get stuff done,
Oh yeah.
to
Oh
get
yeah.
to create the world around us. So I'll go through the rest of the types too.
Please.
So generator, in traditional human design, that word, it's just describing like the very impersonal mechanics of the aura. You are generating this energetic field around you because you have the defined sacral. You're just generating this energetic field. And it's like there's like a bubble around you. Bless
Thank you.
you. In quantum human design, the generator is now called the alchemist.
Mm.
So like I always ask people who are alchemists, what is alchemy? How would you define that? How would you describe alchemy?
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so cool.
How would you describe alchemy?
How would I describe alchemy? Let's see. Bringing tools, intention, practices together to create something that I desire.
Yeah, basically to create something that never existed before, right?
Right.
To to create value where there was none,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
bring something into existence. In alchemy comes from um, it's a Middle Eastern word, alchemy, and al usually means like from God, and chemi is like chemistry. So
Yeah.
alchemy is God's chemistry,
That makes sense. Yeah.
right? It's creating something where there wasn't anything before, and that is the purpose of the generator.
Yeah.
That defines sacral's purpose is to be in response to what lights it up and then create,
That's so cool. That's
right?
so much, that's such a better, more magical term than generator.
Yeah, like every generator I know, when I ask them, like, what's your type? They're like, generator. I'm like,
But,
yeah, it
but
kind
they're
of
so much
sucks.
cooler than that.
Kind of, you're an alchemist,
Hmm.
right? So the traditional terms generally just they describe what the aura is does, which is very like like just, but the quantum human design term is more describing your purpose, your
Right.
energetic purpose by type. Okay, so the next we have projectors. I think the word projector is loaded because with therapeutic modern psychology therapy terms becoming kind of integrated into the common zeitgeist. Ooh, you're projecting. Ooh, that's like not a great name, right?
Yeah.
So what the projector's aura does is it's reaching out. I said the generator aura is just this like bubble that's just like generating right around you. It's magnetizing, it pulls things into it. The
Okay.
projector aura reaches out
Hmm.
and it tastes and samples the auras around it, and it brings that information back into the projector's self.
Hmm.
And the projector has like a very sensitive aura. They're very intuitive. They have lots of feelings. Like they can feel a room. Literally, they feel a room. When I walk into a room, the room feels me.
Hmm.
When my husband walks into a room, he feels the room. He's a projector. And so this is where a lot of projectors can be a classic introvert.
Hmm.
If they're not aware that this is actually a superpower, that you have like the DL like inside scoop on everyone.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what to do with it or how to work with that energy, it can be very overwhelming. So that's what the projector aura does. It just feels everybody, brings that back, and it's just meant to be information. In quantum human design, the projector is now called the orchestrator
Ooh.
because the projector aura, because it feels everybody, it has this intuitive sense around who's not being very efficient in whatever they're working on. They know, ooh, this person and this person would work well together. These people are not working well together. They have this really great intuitive sense that could be great in business. It could be great in, they could be a great relationship coach. They could be a great therapist. They could be a great this or that. And I'm not saying that if you're not a projector, you can't be a therapist. Okay. I want everybody to just be clear. But it's just one of the ways that the projector aura can be just really versatile in guiding people. The projector is really here to guide. And so the orchestrator gives this really great image of, I like to think of like an orchestra. Okay. So in the orchestra, you have all the people playing the instruments, you have the music itself, which was written by probably some dead guy, you know. Uh, you have this the venue, the stage, you have the audience, and you have the conductor. I see the conductor as the projector.
Hmm.
They're not playing the music. They didn't write the music. They're not there to like listen to the music. They are bringing all these elements together and orchestrating it, conducting it, kind of guiding with the dynamics and what's coming next and who's got a solo and bring in the timpani, that's how I see this orchestrator type. And that's really what they're designed to do.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to put that. I never thought of projectors like that. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. And yeah, but when they're asked, and that's the key. That's the projector strategy is wait for the
Right.
invitation.
That's what I've always heard with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So the conductor, they're not running around on the street trying to pull people together, like, come in here and listen to this, or come, you play this instrument. They're not making anybody do anything.
Hmm.
They're just kind of holding it together.
Is that a struggle you see projectors have, like because they have this intuitive knowing that other people sometimes don't, they feel the need to like act on that?
That's operating from the conditioned or the not self, not understanding that you have to be invited in. Because here, think about it this way: somebody just walks up to you and tells you, hey, you're doing that wrong.
Yeah.
How are you going to react? You're going to be like, who the heck are you?
Yeah, rude.
Because the projector aura kind of penetrates. We use this word penetrates, and it's like, okay, whatever. It reaches into the auras of other people and it gets this sensitive information and takes it back with it. And now you have this very like intimate knowledge of someone else. You didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
It's your aura's naturally doing this everywhere you go. But when you just go up to someone and tell them what they need to change in their life because you felt it, it's intrusive.
Yeah.
There was no consent given there,
Right. Right.
so it's about consent. It's
Mm-hmm.
about, okay, you have this knowledge. And so how do we, there's like the best hack, I think, for a projector is ask really good questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you ask really good questions, it shows you know more than people ever would have thought.
Yeah.
And then they will ask you, oh, wow, well, you seem to know a lot about this. What do you think? Now the invitation is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, oh, let's ask so and so. They usually know more than they let on. Let's ask them. But you gain this reputation of having this deep wisdom and knowledge, and you just wait until people ask for your help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know me as a manager, and I'm like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do no matter what anybody else suggests.
Oh yeah.
And I have to get myself to the place of frustration with something, and then I'll ask for help.
That's so me.
Okay, so the next type is the manifester. And this is another one that like is hard. The word manifester is hard because every manifestation and being a manifester of your life is a term, it's a word that's out there that we use. And it's like, oh, I'm not a manifester, so I can't manifest. No, that's not true. And that's why like some of these words are just not helpful. So the manifester type, they uh their aura basically, when they are channeling inspiration from source, their aura can close off. It basically it's here to lead the collective. It's here to be at the forefront. It's here to initiate, and that's the quantum name is the initiator.
Mm.
They're here to be kind of the first to discover things, to bring new ideas, thought patterns, all kinds of things into the world. They're channeling these things directly from source, and that when you connect to source like that, it's powerful. Now, if somebody comes in and says, "Oh, what are you doing?" and they interrupt that connection to source, that energy is still channeling through their body. And guess what? It's going to now be directed at whatever interrupted them.
Lovely.
And that usually does not go over well. And so manifestors really are here to allow themselves to be in this cycles of being prepared, rested and prepared to receive that connection from source. And they have to be able to communicate to the people around them, oh man, I'm getting a direct connection right now. I'm feeling the surge. I'm feeling the impulse. I'm going to go into my creation hole and I need you to not interrupt me for the next hour. They
Yeah.
need to be able to know how to take the 2 seconds to communicate that, because what manifestors usually do is they get the impulse and they just go.
Mm.
And it's very counterintuitive for them to share what it is that they're about to do for a couple reasons. One is when they're children, they often get told no.
Mm.
No, you can't go do that. No, you can't go running across the street right now. Like, no, you can't go and run off into the woods. You no, you can't do that. And so they get conditioned to kind of stifle those impulses or to hide what it is they're doing
Mm.
because, you know, I'm going to get told no by mom. The other reason that it's hard is that it feels like it's going to slow them down.
Mm.
It's going to slow me down to take the 5 seconds I got to take to tell my husband, hey, I'm going into my room. I'm going into the office. I've got something coming through. I don't know how to describe it, but just know I need this time right now to do what I got to do to harness this energy because I don't know when it's coming next.
Right.
And you got to be able to set up non-violent systems of communication
Right. Yeah.
to communicate what this is. So in the long run, when you do that, it saves you more time
Mm.
because you're not getting interrupted. You're not getting that flow cut off.
Okay.
You're getting that less and less.
Yeah.
And then the people around you, when you're a manifestor type or an initiator, we call them, when you just get the impulse to go to the store because you want to make popcorn and you're out of popcorn kernels, if you just run to the store, it's only going to take you 2 minutes. You leave your keys, you leave your phone, you don't tell anybody where you're going. When you get back, everybody's angry with you. Where'd you go? All of us at one moment you're here, next moment you're gone. Oh, I just went to the store because we're about to watch a movie and I wanted to make popcorn. If you didn't tell them, now they feel like they have to keep such close control over you
Mm-hmm.
and constantly be watching, keeping tabs on you and where are you going? What is going on? That you're going to feel constricted. And all the manifester wants is freedom
Mm-hmm.
to be in that flow. And so the better you can communicate, the more freedom you'll feel, the more peace and freedom you'll feel. And so in quantum human design, we call this type the initiator. The initiator is here to channel that divine impulse from source into divine action.
I have maybe a dumb question.
There are no dumb questions.
I appreciate that. Manifesting generators, are they a mix of both?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
because some of this is sounding like me. I was like,
yep, yep. So in traditional human design, there are only four types. The manifesting generator is lumped in with the generators, but Manny-Gen energy is definitely a very different vibe
yeah.
from a generator without a motorized throat. So yes, manifesting generators they have a defined sacral, like a generator. They also have a defined motorized throat, like a manifester. And that's what makes a
Okay.
manifester is they have one of the four energy centers is directly connected to their throat. Or it could be indirectly, but it's connected to their throat somehow. So,
Okay.
like for you in your design, you have three motors all channeling into the throat, but you have this direct connection from the sacral to the throat with the 2034 channel. The 2034 channel is the only channel that connects the sacral center directly to the throat. It is the manifesting generator channel. You can be a manifesting generator without this channel. It's just that energy is going to come from a different center or get routed through different channels to get to the
Okay.
throat. But the 2034 is the only one that directly connects the generator, connects the throat and the sacral. I believe Elton John is a manifesting generator with the 2034 channel. And I believe that those are the only defined centers he has.
Whoa.
So
Cool.
he's like the, like, if you wanted to use the word pure, which not great, but he is like the purest version of a manifesting generator there could be, I think, as far as the only definition he has is
Cool.
manifesting generator definition.
Really cool. Huh.
Yeah. So doing this music by design podcast has been cool too because I've gotten to look at so many musician, creator, songwriter, artist charts, and
Yeah.
my brain weirdly remembers a lot of them.
I love that about you. I think that's so cool.
So last but not least, we have
Yes.
the reflector. Our beloved reflector. Everyone goes gaga when they hear about, oh, I met a reflector. I looked at a reflector's chart. But every reflector I've talked to has said, yo, we're not that special.
I love that.
They don't like, it's funny, like the generators want to feel more special. The reflectors don't like all the attention. So a reflector is a chart that has no centers defined.
Huh.
Every center in their chart is undefined, not colored in. All they have are hanging gates. They don't have any fully defined channels.
Hmm.
The reflector aura is very malleable. It also has like some built-in protections in it to protect it so it doesn't like blow a fuse with all this energy that it takes in all the time with all these open centers, undefined centers. In quantum human design, we call the reflector the calibrator. The reflector calibrator, the divine purpose is to serve as this energetic barometer of the health of its community and essentially the planet, the human species. If you meet a reflector and they're not doing so good, it's a pretty good indication that the people they hang out with the most or the place where they're living, there's something environmentally going on that is really unhealthy for them.
Mm.
So whether they're physically sick or emotionally unwell or mentally unwell or whatever, or they're monetarily not doing good, whatever it is, there's something in their environment, whether it's the people or the place that's really unhealthy. So they're a really good indication of there might be something that needs some work, in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
community or environment. And so
yeah,
community is really, really, really important for reflectors. Um, Fostering the right community, living in the right place, um, you know, just all that sort of stuff. They can be just very, very sensitive to their environment. So that's like one of the most important things for them. Yeah.
yeah. What's their quantum human design name?
The calibrator,
Calibrator.
because they're here to kind of calibrate. Get calibrated by their environment, and those of us that are aware and we see how they're calibrated, we can help recognize, ooh, either this is a good environment or this is not a great environment.
Yeah, that's so. I've never met a reflector before. I feel like reflectors, it sounds like, and I don't have experience with being one, so I may be wrong, but it sounds like they could have some identity issues. They don't really know who they are.
Yeah, that can be a thing. So, yeah, some of the lower expression can be, yeah, not knowing who they are, not knowing, um, not knowing how they could be loved,
Yeah,
because they could feel like they're very inconsistent because they change every day.
yeah,
A big thing with reflectors is that gets talked about is they have what's called lunar authority.
yeah. I've heard that.
So the lunar authority, it has to do with reflectors need a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Do not pressure a reflector to make a decision faster than they are ready to. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something, the every type has like these emotional theme polarities, and the not self emotional theme for reflectors is disappointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They can see the potential really easily in
Mm-hmm.
someone or something or a situation. But if they rush into making a decision about something, they can get disappointed. They can get let down because they fell in love with the potential, but not everybody lives up to their potential.
That sounds so sad.
Yeah, but really, like, their reflectors can be some of the most powerful people out there too. Because if you like keep in mind, like everywhere where you are undefined, you are amplifying what you are taking in. So if a reflector is hanging out with a really healthy manifesting generator,
Mhm.
they're gonna look like they're a TEDx manifesting generator.
Yeah.
They're gonna look like they are just time bending times 100.
Yeah.
So it really is, like I said, they're a reflection of their environment.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So if they
Wow.
know how to put themselves around people that are gonna like really using expanders is a
Right.
really, really great strategy for reflectors. Like put yourself in the places where you really want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself around the people that you want to be like, and you will amplify their greatest qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they need a lot of time, but it can also be really fun. They get to put on a totally different costume every day. They get to put
Right.
on and try out and taste the flavor of what it is to be, like this person one day or like this person another day.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
when you have a reflector child, though, the super stable, healthy caretaker is really, really, really important. I mean, it's important for all children as their auras develop, but a reflector child really, really needs super stable adult caretaker aura that they can use to help kind of use as their like anchor point as they navigate and sample and taste all the different energies that are out there every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even think about using human design for parenting. I bet that's a freaking game changer.
Absolutely. Because
Um,
this is where childhood is where all the messed up stuff starts,
oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I was raised by two generator parents who were not emotionally defined
Mm. Whoa.
and and not really very emotionally healthy. Like they were just baby boomers. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry,
No,
not
yeah.
sorry. And I was never seen or validated or held in my emotional wave
Mm-hmm.
ever. I learned how to cut off my emotions
Yeah.
to get through the rest of high school until I could go to college and be a little bit more expressed. But then it felt like the floodgates opened, and then I was like too emotional.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I'm in my middle age, and I've finally learned how to like regulate and balance. And so I love working with people who are younger to like help learn this stuff earlier, but also women who are my age who are still like struggling with either being totally disconnected and not knowing how they feel about anything and being in that kind
Mm-hmm.
of codependent state, or the opposite where I've swung both directions where I've also been so emotionally reactive that I've exhibited a lot of narcissistic traits that I've been like, man, I'm not a narcissist. I know I'm not.
Yeah.
But I've questioned myself a lot because I learned how to kind of be one from the environment I grew up in. And
Yeah.
so helping women to really become more emotionally regulated and connected and self-validated and know how to understand how to work with their emotions, whether they're defined or undefined. That's like really like my juicy spot. that's my
Yeah.
that's my like big forte.
That's incredible. Yeah, what an important job that you have. Seriously, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
thank you for breaking down every single type in a way that's makes each of us feel unique and special like we are, because I truly don't see human design experts, if you can even be an expert in anything, not do that. Like it's very generalized, or it's very putting in a box, which is exactly what you're not supposed to be doing with human design, is what I've learned today.
Yes.
um so thank you for explaining human design in a way that's very, very special and expansive. Is there anything else you feel like people should know about this tool or about you, or any last words?
Well, we could make this a 7-hour podcast,
I'm
but
down.
what I would say is if you want to learn more in this really like practical, real life kind of way of talking about it, go listen to my podcast, Music by Design.
Yeah.
I'm in season 2 now, where I've decided I answered a lot of my questions that I had about why we listen to the music that we do in season 1. I feel satisfied with that question, but I still wanted to keep doing the podcast. So this year, I'm interviewing primarily creators, songwriters, um, musicians, and I do them in like episodes of like 3 episode clusters, where the first episode is the interview. The second episode, I go deeper into an aspect of their design that we like lightly touched on in the episode, in the interview, but didn't go too deep into. So I use that as the kind of launching point for what part of human design to teach about. And then the third episode, I like to do an upcoming transits
Ooh, cool.
episode where I hone in on some aspect. I can't, it would be a 4 hour long podcast if I did all the transits, but I like to pick out something that's going on. So, like right now, we're going through what's called the emotional solar plexus process until mid March,
Oh, wow.
where the sun is transiting through all of the gates in the solar plexus.
Huh.
And so, if you're undefined or you have a hanging gate that wants to connect to the solar plexus, chances are you're gonna get to experience an emotional wave through the transits at some point, either in the last 4 weeks or the next 4 weeks. So I made like a little, I made an episode about that in January, and I made a little like PDF guide in the Patreon for
Mhm.
the podcast that goes along with that.
Cool.
So that goes into each gate and what dates and contemplation, journaling questions, and all that sort of stuff. And so I kind of like to create a little thing like that where if you go to the Patreon, it's only $2 a month to support the podcast. And it's patreon.com/music by design. In there, I include the charts of the people I'm interviewing, little PDFs that I make for these going deeper episodes and the transits and things like that. So
Wow.
I don't know when this is going to air, but coming up this week on
This comes out
February.
tomorrow.
Oh, perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
this Friday, February 28th, you guys are going to get the March transits episode, which actually I brought in my friend Emma Martins, who is an astrologer. And
Ooh.
we go at it with Venus retrograde that's coming up next month.
Yay.
We
Yay.
go deep into it. It's super fun. And she's incredibly, amazingly knowledgeable about pop music and
Mm.
like music history. She is just like, she knows so much about music, and she pulls in some really cool tie-ins with past Venus retrogrades and different like things that have happened with people in music. So
That is so
that's a
cool.
really fun episode. I've got it all like edited and ready to go. So definitely listen to that one. And the one that came out last week is a deep dive into the root center.
Cool.
So if you're curious to learn more about different centers and channels, it's cool. And then you get to discover music. I primarily interview musicians who are kind of local or regional to me here in upstate New York, with a few people that are kind of elsewhere. But I like bringing it kind of back into this like very close to home lens of bands that I've loved for a long time, and getting to interview them about their creative process and how creativity comes through and how lyrics come through and music and all of that. And I also want to offer to your community, I have through my website, you can get a PDF report, a quantum human design PDF report. It's like 60 pages long. It goes over your type, your type, strategy, and authority. It goes through your profile and your defined and undefined centers. So
Cool.
like a lot of the stuff I talked about and touched on today that I think is really important if you want to go a little bit deeper beyond just your type. Or if you got a reading and you know your type, but you don't know what it means, you can get this PDF report. It's normally $77, but I'm going to offer your community a 33% off coupon. We'll
Oh,
call
thank
it
you.
Divine Gossip will be the coupon code.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I'll give you the link, and you can post the
Please.
link in the show notes. And yeah, if you heard this and you listen to the podcast, I would love to connect and reach out, send me a message. I'm on Instagram at Anna with Intention. I'm on Facebook at Anna with Intention. And that's about the extent of that. But I have a newsletter list I send out when I put out new podcast episodes, and there's just so much. And
I can't wait to dive into all of it after
I love
this.
sharing. Yeah, I love sharing with everybody. So
Thank you so much. You're so cool. I'm obsessed with you and everything you do. You're such an inspiration. Seriously. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Oh my God. I feel like I still have a million questions. I want you back on.
Okay. I mean, I would love to talk about, we can talk about profile.
Yeah.
We can go deeper into any of the centers at any point too. Just let me know.
Yay. Okay.
We could
Thank
do a
you.
monthly installment if you want.
What? Okay, we'll talk. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to rate and review Divine Gossip on whatever platform you listened in on. Head to themackenziecollective.com to work with me further. If you have any questions or have any topics you want me to cover or any guests you want me to have on, please email all of that to info@themackenziecollective.com or go to the episode description to fill out my Google form. I love you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.